Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm liking those earrings you have on, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Remember the little Breesley girl that we went into her shop? Yep, hers. You have to come to Texas and come shopping.
Ah, love them.
Hey, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, though.
I know, but I will see you next week in Dayton.
Super excited about that.
I know.
So I'm also excited about our guest today. So Dana, why don't you introduce?
Yes, very excited. Actually, someone I wanted to have on for a long time and have had the opportunity to interview Ken before, but we have Ken Pozek from Orlando. You live in Orlando, right?
I do, yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Do you want to start by telling everybody just a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, a little bit about your business, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, for sure. So I got into the business right out of high school in 2003. And so that was in Detroit, Michigan, and was flipping houses. I was an appraiser. And then in 2008, I got into selling houses and did that for a while. And my wife and I in 2016 were like, we should buy a second home in Florida. That would be fun, right? We're doing well now, and why not get a second home down there? And so we came down in early 2016 and we said, hey, why don't we just not go home? And so we put a deposit on a lot and built a house. And in late 2016, we brought the kids down and relocated here. So we did the kind of reverse expansion for a little while, ran the team in Detroit and in Orlando. And then last year, we ended up the year at about just under 74 million in volume and just over 190 units.
That is incredible. You can probably speak. I know we kind of brought you on to talk about YouTube, but you can speak also to one of the questions that we get a lot, which is how do you grow your business when you're not from where you live? Like when someone moved.
Yeah. We didn't know anybody besides Mickey Mouse here. So just it was brand new to us. We had traveled here quite a bit, but yeah, starting over fresh, not knowing anybody.
So what I love about what you're saying, Ken, is we're changing the belief so much in the real estate industry. I remember when people used to think, well, you can't live across the bridge and sell over here. I mean, literally, that's how antiquated it was. And now we literally are showing people, or people like you are showing people, that where do you want to work? And then you start with that, and then you just go home and figure out how to do it instead of, one day I would like to be here. I love that. So you could probably also speak a little bit about what you learned from trying to do expansion also.
Yeah, for sure. So we did it successfully for 1 year and then miserably failed the second. So so I can share both of those. But yeah, I did the same thing in Michigan. I grew up in the city of Detroit and kind of like a little like lower middle class suburb there. And over the next 3 or 4 years, I moved up into my wife and I, we started selling across the bridge, like you had mentioned. Like I just went into the higher end area and I said, listen, I'm kind of sick of selling $100,000 houses. I'm going to go sell $1 million houses, and kind of broke into that market. And then, it kind of made sense to me that like the skill that you have here can translate anywhere. And so why don't you just go put the action plan together and make it happen? So it worked really well.
Awesome. So tell us how you did it. What was hard? What did you learn? If you were telling somebody else that wanted to do exactly what you did, what would you tell them that you learned they should do?
I would say, so we started out looking at, we had built up a nice nest egg and a big business in Michigan, but I didn't know anybody here. So I was like, I'm going to go completely opposite. In Michigan, I was like farming, direct mail, but then it was a lot of open houses, sphere business, database, like a really good, solid business. And then here I was like, well, I don't know anybody, so I'm just going to start buying Zillow, radio ads. I'll start an ISA department. I'll do all these other crazy things. I started spending money left and right, things I had never done before. And it was just a money and time suck for like 9 months. And so I looked up, I'm like, this doesn't feel like who I am. I'm not leading with revenue. I'm doing everything wrong. So I just got rid of all of that and started over fresh. And I said, I'm just going to go back to open houses and door knocking and calling and kind of the stuff I know works and building relationships. And so I did that for a while. And then YouTube kind of came along 3 years ago to where it sort of clicked that I could build an asset that Zillow can't take away from me by, building this video, building a subscriber base, which is really just its own database, really, and staying in front of them at least once a week. And through that, it's grown into, so of the 74 million we closed last year, over 20 million came from YouTube. So people calling, hey, we're relocating to the area, we've got a second home to sell, whatever that was. And so it took about 3 years, and just like anything, it took a little bit of time to get there, but with some consistency, it turned out well.
That's, Linda, can you believe that 20 million of 74 came from YouTube?
No, I can't believe that, because, Dana and I do this podcast, and we, how far the reach is.
Yeah.
So how in the world do you take something, because YouTube is kind of like a podcast, you're going to reach the whole world, but how do you make that work into a specific area that you need it to work in?
So for me, it was, okay, who's my ideal client? Where are they looking? Where are they looking to buy? Where are they looking to sell? And so creating content that Google likes around that. And so using Google, just going to google.com and typing in Orlando homes, and then there's going to be the autocomplete at the end, right? So it's, you type in Orlando homes and it says for sale near the parks. Okay, great. I'll do a video on that. It says luxury homes, and then all of a sudden Google auto completes gated neighborhoods in Orlando, stuff like that. And so I started creating videos around what people were already searching for. So that way, Google owns YouTube, and so they play really well together. And so, and YouTube's also the second biggest search engine. So anytime anybody wants to learn something, they're going to go to YouTube and type in, how do I do X, or that topic they want. And so we created very topical videos. It wasn't like super broad. It was actually very, very niche. And so a lot of agents, I think, get caught up in like, how's the real estate market, or talking about interest rates, or talking about 5-year averages. Like, nobody's searching for that stuff, right? That's like, it's boring to me half the time. So like, I know it's going to be boring for most people looking online. And so that's the number one thing, just create videos that go around stuff, people are already searching for.
Okay, so let me get this right. So you went in and found words that people were putting into Google. You made sure those were embedded in your written content, or in what you said, or?
Yeah, all of that. So really, it's the title, and then it's the first 2 sentences of the description. So if you type in right now, you go to YouTube and you type in moving to Orlando. So my title of the video is moving to Orlando. In the thumbnail, it says moving to Orlando. I named that thumbnail moving to Orlando. In the description, in the tags, all of that kind of stuff is around moving to Orlando. It's not about me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody knows who I am, right? When you're moving from Texas to Orlando, you don't know. And so it's all about that. And then I'm kind of like the gracious host, if you will. Like, it's not me starting off the video, hey, this is Ken Pozek with Keller Williams. I'm the greatest agent in the world. You want to work with me if you're looking to move here, right? It's just, hey, if you've considered moving to Orlando, here's the 5 things you should think about before you make the move. And then at the end, I say, hey, if you've got any value from this, make sure you hit subscribe. And if you are looking to move to the area, I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. So here's my phone number. And then people reach out slowly at first, and then now it's multiple times a day.
You've got, Ken, like 6,000 subscribers now. And I mean, I'm just like obsessed with your YouTube. Like, I look at everything.
Yeah, you're so kind.
Well, the other day, that's why it popped up that you were doing a live. So I want you to touch on that, but not yet. But I set to where I get your notifications, and I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even know YouTube had live, that you could go live on YouTube. And then when you were sharing with me your stat, it had only been like 2 hours and you'd already had 1,000 views or something. I'm like, this is insane. But how long did it take you to build your subscribers? And at what point do you feel like is a good number, if you will?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I think if you look at some of the gurus, even the real estate gurus about YouTube, they talk about, some say that subscribers don't matter, and other ones say that that's all you should focus on. I'm kind of in the middle. I think that, you're going to get people that are going to call you right away, but then there's a lot of people that subscribe and don't do anything for years. So we've built brand equity essentially in people's minds for the past couple of years because they've subscribed, because they hit that notification bell. And so I think it is important. My first year, I only had like 300 subscribers. Year 2, I got to 1,000. That was a really big deal for me. I was very excited. And then last year we added like 5,800, and now we just passed 6,000. So now that we're a little over 3 years in.
So year 3 was your biggest I mean, that's when it really,
By
so
far.
you were consistent for 3 years and then it showed up.
So when
Yeah.
you had the 300, did you get any deals out of that? And is there any way to find the data of where those people are coming from? Are they people that are out of the town or in town? And
Yeah, super good. So good question. So first year we sold 3 houses from YouTube, and that was after uploading 100 videos. And granted, I didn't know what I was doing. I was using my cell phone, editing it myself, just uploading a video or 2 a week, and they weren't great. They were pretty bad actually. So year 1 we had 3 closings. Year 2 we had 8. And so again, not crazy, not knocking it out of the park. But then last year we had 42 closings from YouTube.
that's fantastic.
That is,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So when did you, or go ahead, Linda.
No, I was just thinking, and you think about probably the expense of doing something like that as compared to what you were paying Zillow and things like that. It has to be unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing, like, so you guys have been in the business long enough. It's just like farming. It's digital farming, right? You mail a neighborhood of 1,000 homes. You don't get anything for the first 3-6 months. A lot of times, even if you're crushing the Gene Rivers model and you're door knocking and you're kissing babies and going around, it still takes time, right? And then by year 2, it gets a little bit better, and by year 3, 4, 5, that's really where it starts to get fun. And so that's thankfully where we are right now. So I think people give up on farming way too early. I think they gave up on YouTube the same way.
Yeah. Were you always good on video, or like did you become good on video? Because yours are really good. I mean, they're good.
Thank you. No, I was terrible at, I had to restart the video all the time. And so I actually just taught my team this. We did a video, like how to do video better class yesterday. And it was like, my number 1 tip is like, you have to do video more, just because like the first time you did an open house, your heart was probably beating the first person that walked in, right? You were nervous. You didn't know what to say. You were a little awkward, and you got better over time. And so it's just time on task over time, like anything. And so when I'm teaching the class, I say, listen, when you're doing a video, you want to have a path of where you're taking the watcher or the viewer, and you want to keep them engaged the whole time. But you don't want to, have those ums and kind of stutters and that sort of thing. And so think about 3, maybe 4 things that you want to accomplish in that whole video. And hey, that's going to be the path. So if it's a neighborhood video, it's, hey, this is where we're at in regards to everything else in the city. Maybe here's the builder, here's the price point, and at the end, you want to invite them to subscribe. And if you can kind of keep those things in your mind, the script kind of writes itself. And so we don't read scripts, we don't do teleprompters or any of that. We just kind of think about those bullet points and try to hit those along the way.
One of the things that I loved that you did, and actually you were really probably one of the first ones I saw doing this, but I noticed that I watched which for me is like, I don't watch a lot from the very beginning to the end, usually after like the first 15, probably like most people, then you're done after the first 15 seconds. But I found myself, I always watched yours until the end. And most of the time it was because you were walking. Like you walked a ton while you were talking and in the video. And so I noticed I was always like engaged because you were always walking. And so I remember I called Tyler one time, Linda, and I said, okay, remind me that next time we do videos, I just want to walk the whole time. And he's like, where are you getting this from? I'm like, go watch this guy on YouTube.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a huge student of other great, like, I'm not a great YouTuber, but there's a lot of great YouTubers out there. And so you notice that a lot of them, like, they don't wait more than 15 seconds until like the background changes or something's changing. So like a walking thing helps because the background's constantly changing. It keeps you visually, even if the content's really great, if it's just static in the background, it becomes a little bit tougher to watch.
Yeah.
Wow. So how'd you figure out content? Did you just decide way in advance? Is it last minute when you create? How do you figure out what content? I mean, you can only say there's 5 best things to know about Orlando, and then now what, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started shooting a lot of different content and trying to figure out what my audience enjoyed. And then I started taking their feedback based on how many views the videos had. But then YouTube has a community feature where you can say, like, hey, which of my videos do you guys like the best? And people reached out. And what I found the theme was that they liked luxury home tours. They like Disney because I'm close to Disney, and Orlando and Disney are kind of synonymous. And those two like really leaned in. And then like local neighborhood stuff was a little bit kind of like the third. And so you'll notice that that's kind of my cadence is I do a luxury home tour, I do a new business that's opened, and then I do a local area like neighborhood or moving to area, that kind of thing. And so that's been our shooting cadence lately.
That's your cadence.
I love, like, I'm looking at your page right now, and I love that, because exactly what you said is kind of how it is, because you have almost 4,000 views on Inside Shaq's home, 16 million house. You have then you have a house flip, a before and after. Then you've got holidays at Disney,
Yep,
and you've
there you
got
go.
and then you've got buying sight unseen, and
Yep.
and all of them have great views. I mean, it's just I'm looking through, and you know what else I think too? People, one, at the end, will tell them how to go there, but like, it's your thumbnails are so attractive. Will you talk a little bit about the importance of that too? Because I just feel like that visually appealing looks so good.
Yeah, so you think, I mean, the title is important and the video content itself is important, but if you don't get them to click on it, they're never going to see any of that. And so having a really engaging thumbnail is important. I would say that if you're getting into YouTube, just type in the search term that you're thinking of, look at what your competition is doing, and then do something different. So like a lot of times, if I typed in moving to Orlando and everybody was blue with white lettering, I'll go red with black lettering or something different, right? So that I kind of stand out in the search results. But then there's a lot of science behind it, like having someone's face on a thumbnail converts and clicks through better than just words or just a photo. And so like it's being able to see the whites in someone's eyes actually converts better than if someone's standing really far back and you can't see them that well. Like, so there's a lot of psychology behind it that I dove into. I would say my guru around it his name is Daryl Eves. He's not a real estate agent at all. All he does is just he teaches YouTube and like the algorithms and how it all works. And so I paid to do a one-on-one with him, and I've paid, just kind of followed his videos online, and that's where I learned a lot of this stuff from.
Do you like to geek out and learn all that stuff yourself, or do you just have people on your team that does it?
I do. Yeah, I do like to geek out. I mean, I have a videographer now. So every Thursday we go out and shoot 2 pieces of content every single Thursday. We never miss. And so, so before I was, I led with revenue, like I mentioned, though, I was me and my phone until we got some closings, and then I hired an editor. So I was still shooting on my phone, but somebody else was editing and posting for me. And then now I've got a guy who does sort of everything other than the thumbnails. I do the thumbnails myself still.
That's what that was actually really was my next question, was what parts of it do you actually do yourself now, and what parts are leveraged out? So really you're just in it, and then you like to do your thumbnails, and then, or do you write your descriptions and stuff, or do you pay a writer?
So he helps do the writing portion of it as well. So
Wow.
basically I show up I do the production, and I do the video idea. I scout the areas in my mind of like, here's where we're going to meet. These are kind of the shots that we want to get. And so I do like the creative portion a little bit, I do enjoy that piece. And he cuts me a better deal because he doesn't have to do a lot of that work. So.
Yeah.
Is that the videographer that does that?
Yeah.
Gosh, that is okay. So if someone were saying, I really want to start this and grow my YouTube presence, what would like be a couple of the key tips that you would give them if they're not super familiar?
So I would say, again, just start and stay consistent. Like that's the number one tip. Like if you can stay consistent at it, you're going to win, right? And then from then it's just fine tuning along the way, getting better and better. But yes, just if you're going to start, you got to stay consistent with it. And then the other thing is, decide who you're shooting the video for, right? It's about them, not about you. And so like if you're creating videos for other people, like the ideas come a lot sooner. Like, so if someone was moving to, Dallas, like what are things that they would want to know? And then go shoot content around that. Like the ideas start coming really, really quick. So that's, I think the top 2 right there.
Because it's not necessarily like you showing them homes over and over. The key is to just show them things that they want to see about your town to get them to keep coming back to your channel.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other piece around this has become, so I say we got 20 million of business from YouTube. That's people reaching out. Hey, we've been following you. We're moving to the area. Or again, we've got a second home there. Can you sell it for us? That kind of thing. But then we've been getting a ton of referrals because of it, because like the Disney content or the new business content that goes to our database, right? So we're multi-purposing a lot of that. It's lead gen for new content, but then it's also for our database. And like my idea was always, how do I stay in front of my database without being like, hey, do you want to know what the new interest rates are? Or, eventually it falls on deaf ears. And so we've got a lot more referrals from a database because of this, right? We've also gotten a lot more agent referrals because of it, right? And so for us, the video is kind of a three-pronged approach.
Do you send the videos to your data? I might have missed this. Do you send the videos to your database?
Yeah. So we use Constant Contact currently, and we send that out every single week and never miss.
So you
So
drive them.
go ahead, Dana.
You drive them to in the email that you send. Do you send them to YouTube or do you send? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So in the email, you're telling them to go to YouTube to watch the video.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, the video of the week this week is, and then we, hey, it's Shaq. We did a tour of Shaq's house. If you want to see what a $16 million house on the water looks like, check this out, right? That's great content for both people that are moving to the area, but then also good for our database. And so
do you actually have it listed?
No, I actually called the listing agent and I was like, hey, so you're not doing she's doing a great job, but the house has been listed for 3 years. So I'm like, somebody's not doing a great job marketing this thing. Let me come in and do a video, and would that be okay? And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. He's not there full time anyways. So come on, when do you want to meet? And so brought my videographer and shot the content.
I love it.
I love it too.
I mean, who doesn't want to see Shaq's closet? Will you show me Shaq's closet? I want to
It's
see
in the video. It's in the video. His shoes are giant.
That is awesome. So that was actually one of my questions though, Ken, was do you ever go shoot other agents listings just for content?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, shooting other agents listings, because although I have a decent amount of listings, not all of them are luxury, and really that's what my channel says that they want. So I call luxury home builders, like, hey, do you have any specs that aren't moving that I can come in and shoot? Everybody from move up buyer builders as well. Like that's a bunch of the videos on my channel as well. And so people are searching, new construction homes in Orlando. Great, we pop up. And so I think that you got to hit all of those different ones. So yes, we do our own beautiful listing videos, but then we're doing a lot of other people's as well.
Yeah.
So YouTube is one of your sources of business. Is it your number one, or where does it rank, and what else is in there for your sources of business?
Yeah, agent referrals is number 1. YouTube is number 2. Sphere is 3. Farming is 4.
Agent referrals is number 1.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's my goal for this year, actually, was to have agent referrals be number 1 for my team. Because when you meet people from all across the country, I mean, there's no reason.
Yeah, we've got, I've done enough of these videos, and then people reach out afterwards, and we cultivate that list. So we're up over 30,000 people that get our monthly email, and it's essentially a book giveaway, and as well as like a video tip that I shoot via BombBomb. And I say like, hey, so, this is what we're doing with YouTube that's working, or, hey, we tried this giveaway and it totally bombed. Our database hated it. And so we're trying to do what's working and then what's not. And then I do a book giveaway. So we gave away James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, last month. This one we're doing The Psychology of Money. And so we're just, so Gary was pushing that in his group. And so after I read it, I'm like, it's a great book. So I just say, hey, listen, so I'm going to pick 5 people at random that respond back to this email, right? So I get that engagement. And so of the 30,000 people that get it, we get like a 19% open rate. Okay. So just staying in front of agents quite a bit. Yeah. So that's our number 1 source.
Wow, that's impressive. I'll have to pick your brain about that at another time, maybe.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what made you decide to focus on agent referrals? Because a lot of times, to be honest with you, and I remember in the early days of coaching with Gary, we talked about this. This was a lost source of money. Because agents either don't focus on it, they don't bother to find out, where the people are moving to send the referrals, and then they don't keep up with the referrals. So what was made you decide to do that? And then what else did you say was your other big source besides agent referrals? YouTube.
So it's Sphere and then farming are the 4 big ones for us. Yeah. So when I moved to Orlando, I didn't know anybody other than realtors, and I was like, I can turn this into something. I feel like I was a decent enough agent in Michigan. We ran a $40 million business there, that I could have some brand loyalty no matter where I go. So they know that even though I'm new to Orlando, that I'm still going to work my butt off and treat the client really well. And so we started this email list and this email distribution, and just kind of was very purposeful around cultivating the agent referrals, and it's been growing every year.
That's fantastic. So I guess when you go to a family reunion or mega camp, you're actively working to build that list while you're there. Yeah, absolutely. And I do as much as I can to teach as well.
That's what I was gonna say. That's where I met you, was at family reunion one year, and I just went to you had a class, or you're on a panel or something. And I remember I took 4 pages of notes, and I was like, okay, nope, I gotta have more of Ken. It was great. Okay,
Thank you.
well, as we kind of wrap up, will you hit on the live YouTube live? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know about this, and selfishly, Linda and I ask stuff that selfishly we want to know about.
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. So it's really brilliant. So I went live the first time 2 weeks ago, and somebody else who is not in the real estate space was like, hey, you guys need to be using more of the YouTube features. And I'm like, I don't even know if my people would like this, but why not? And so I said, like 4 days beforehand, I just posted a thumbnail and it said, Orlando Real Estate Live. And I said, hey, I'm going to be going live on Saturday at 1:00. Drop your questions below and let me know what you guys, I can answer your questions. I'm going to talk about the state of the real estate market. So if you go to your community tab on your YouTube, and so any of your subscribers will get alerted that you posted, and then they can drop comments below. You can do a poll in there. You can do anything you want. It's quite great. And so the community feature is just very underutilized by most people. So anyhow, I log in on Saturday at 1:00, and there's like 63 people waiting to get in. And I was like, huh. And so I just talk about real estate a little bit. And I was just like, hey, so I'm going to go to Q&A. So if you have questions, let me know. And it was like question after question after question. And then we finished and they're like, please do another one of these. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do one of these at least once a month. And then I had, I think it's up to 1,800 views or something like that a couple of weeks later. And it cost me nothing. It was literally like this and a microphone, and that was it. And so, yeah, I think that's a very underutilized piece to grow content and then also engage with your subscribers.
Awesome. So speaking of equipment, people ask a lot of questions around equipment. So talk to us, what kind of equipment do you need to do this?
So when you get started, again, I think you have to lead with revenue. And so it's, grab your cell phone. I think putting it on a gimbal definitely helps. So a gimbal is just like a stick that keeps the phone from, looking all wonky. And so if you're talking into your phone as well, your audio is pretty clear. Like you don't need an extra mic or any of that other stuff. And so start there. And then eventually, you'll work your way up to hiring somebody with a camera and that kind of thing. But I think really great audio does make great video. So being really cognizant of like not having wind blowing at you while you're taking your videos and that kind of thing is important. But then like if you're doing a live, just grabbing like a Yeti mic, they're $100, plopping it in front of you so that audio is really clear, and then being cognizant about your lighting is important. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is free. It's just kind of, or cheaper. You just kind of keeping an eye on what you're doing in the process.
Well, Dana, we probably have about 3 or 4 extra microphones because we've tried them all, but we're not sure if they work with our phone.
Yeah,
we buy all the cool equipment, but then we don't figure out how to use it.
If it works or not. Yeah,
So
right. DJI Osmo is a really good one. There's 3 different versions. I had the first one. It gets to be quite heavy while you're out there walking around. The second one I don't like it. It was very cheaply made, but the third one is also very good. So if you're on a budget, buy the first one. If you have a little bit more, buy the third one.
Yeah, that first one I had, it really was kind of heavy. Yeah. One random question. Are you on Clubhouse?
Yeah, we just did one last night.
Are you getting any traction for Adam's had a ton of traction from Clubhouse. Like it's all he does all day long and all he talks about now. And so I'm just like, I feel like it's kind of could go hand in hand with some of the stuff you're doing. So I was just wondering feedback on it.
Yeah, so I don't think so. It's unfortunately a lot of business owner, realtor, like info marketers now, but I think that eventually that's going to be a great way to connect with your local community. Like if I did a Disney lovers clubhouse, right? Eventually there's going to be or whatever it is, your local clubhouse get together. I think that would be really great. But what I'm finding right now is I go on Clubhouse. We have like yesterday we did one on YouTube actually, funny enough, and we had just like 100 people in the room, but I got like 18 people add me on Instagram, and every time I go on and I go on stage on Clubhouse, I'll have 15 to 30 people add me on Instagram. So I think what it is right now is it's an amplification opportunity to grow some of your reach. And so from like an agent perspective, I think it's a great way to grow referrals.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you do Facebook and Instagram too? Or like, I mean, I know that you do, but do you focus on those at all, or is YouTube your main?
So for like lead gen to the public, YouTube is it. Okay. And then for agent referrals, building relationships and staying in front of them, it's Instagram.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome.
Cool stuff.
I take so many notes every time I hear you, Ken.
You're so
I
kind.
have a really dumb question. How in the world, when people are driving in their cars, where's their camera?
Hopefully it's not in their hand, but I think a lot
I
like
know. It's like, what?
Yeah, so I for me it is in my hand, but I'm usually parked, and so or I'll have like one of those little suction cup things on my window, and like it's got
That's
a
what
little
I've
arm.
seen. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've seen those before. I need to get one of those.
I don't think it's a bad idea. You got to be a little bit more safe. These agents out there are crazy. I tell you what.
Yeah, no kidding. We drive crazy already anyway. We already don't know
That's
where
right.
we're going.
Right.
It's so true. So you told me your goal was 20,000 subscribers for this year. Do you have
Yeah.
any new plans of how to get to 20,000 subscribers?
Yes. So what I found is that for like every 1,000 views, I'm getting roughly 10 subscribers. And so I'm either having to create way better content to where it catches on more viral, or I'm going to create more content. So my thing was I'm going to create more content. So last year we put out a video every single week. Now we're putting out 2 videos every single week.
Wow.
And so my whole thing is, hopefully by doubling up on the content, that will get more leads, more referrals, and then, more subscribers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
So any last parting thoughts for anybody who wants to try to duplicate what you've done that you learned along the way that you would do differently if you started over?
If I was starting over, I think that to the type of content you create really does matter. And so, spending a little bit of time up front, caring about the audience and what they actually want to watch is going to save you a lot of time and money. And so, or time, being money. So yeah, spend some time there and then be consistent. Like that's the biggest. I see so many agents, they start this, hey, I put out my first video and it only got 5 views, and then they stop. And I think that if you don't stick with it long term, that you won't see the success that you want. So make sure you stick with it, and you'll be successful.
So repeat again, the top 3 content that you found from your experience was what?
Luxury homes, like moving to, or pros and cons videos. Either one works really well. Like, so the pros and cons of living in Dallas or whatever it is. And then local, like hyper local content. So like not just the city, but like the specific neighborhoods that people are looking to move into.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Like, or for you, Disney, because that's.
Yeah, for me it was Disney. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that move here to buy second homes to be close to Disney. So
Adam's son and daughter's birthdays are 1 month apart, and they're in July and August. And this year they said, we don't want any presents. We just want to go to Disney. They've never been to Disney, and they're 12 and 9. And
Perfect.
and honestly, you were the first person I thought of. I was like, oh, I know nothing about Disney, but I'm sure I could watch some of Ken's videos and figure it out.
Give me a call. I'm happy to help plan it with them.
That's awesome. Wonderful.
Oh, awesome. This is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So good. Ken, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And remember, if you have questions, otherwise Dana and I are going to ask the questions we want answered. But if you want questions, submit them to us at info@everything life and real estate. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure and hit that subscribe button below. And we'd love to have your reviews. Reviews is how other people find us. And of course, you can always pass it along to someone that you believe would benefit from this type of content. So Ken, I just want to say thank you very much. Super impressed. Keep up the great work. And Dana, I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.